Good morning.
Oh, hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
George Boston.
Paek. I'm here on the pretrial docket.
Okay.
We're with James Richard Powell.
Okay.
He's a 19-year-old unlawfully carrying a weapon, handgun.
Okay.
He has a... Pardon?
I don't like 19-year-olds who carry handguns.
Yeah, they can be a little wild at that age. He has a prior, too.
Yeah, I see that here.
Doesn't look good.
How old was he when he got this prior?
He was 17. He had just miraculously, actually, I'm surprised, he was able to complete the probation on the deferred adjudication that he received.
How long has he been off probation?
Just a couple months, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like he got off probation last July.
Last July, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't look good. I was reading the the probable cause affidavit, and it looked like the officer suspected that he was going to commit a burglary. I mean, he was in an alley, the car was running, the headlights were off. Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Looks pretty bad.
It does look bad. Do you have a recommendation?
Let me just find out a little bit more.
Oh, by the way, he has completed the level 2 misdemeanor. I feel like I have a certificate of completion in here somewhere. Here it is. It was a 20-hour class, and he was able to put that in.
Okay, let me...
He just completed it last week.
Today the 9th?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, on one hand, I appreciate that he did the level 2 class, but on the other hand, if being on probation for a year didn't get this guy's attention, I think he's going to need some more re-educating than 20-hour class.
I agree. I do agree with that. I mean, I'm
You know,
more concerned about his future as well.
Sure, I really don't know. Kids like this are hard. I mean, here's a kid, and there's no point in putting him on probation because that was meaningless to him, and I don't know whether a jail sentence will get his attention any more than probation.
I'm sure it would. He's not looking forward to it, but, you know, I told him that's, you know, he's probably going to have to serve out some.
If this burglary kind of went through all the way, I mean, he'd be looking at 10 years probation with a jail sentence as a condition, but...
It did look suspect, but,
yeah,
you know,
I'll tell you what,
there wasn't a burglary.
If he forfeits a weapon up front, give him 180 days in the Travis County Jail, no fine and court costs.
Okay. Is there any way to reduce that down with good behavior or anything like that?
Yeah,
or community service?
Well, if he can get good time credit in jail.
Right.
So he can reduce it that way, and he may be able to become a trustee, and then if you can become a trustee, they really reduce it. So, by the way, I didn't realize how late it's gotten. If I'm going to get my officer down here, I need to call him pretty quickly, so can you let me know?
Oh, yeah. We are ready for them to go. We filed a motion to suppress.
I know, but do you want to talk to your client about this and let me know whether he wants to do the deal, or do you want me to get my officer down here?
No, let me go talk to him.
Okay. Okay.
Unless you can make me a better offer.
Well, I can't tell you if this offer I've made is only good
Okay.
And if he waives his pretrial, if he goes ahead and does his pretrial, I'm going to go ahead and recommend, let me just write this down. Let me think about this. Okay. Let me just make a note that this offers before pretrial, and after pretrial, I'm going to recommend 240 days.
240 days.
Yeah, so it's going to be 240 Travis County Jail plus court cost. What does this guy think? I'm going to, kiss and make up with him?
No, he's just like you said, he's, an irrational 19-year-old. He thinks,
Well,
he's a little tough one, but he doesn't want to go to jail for that long.
well, irrational 19-year-olds grow up to be people like Saddam Hussein, and they...
I think that's going a little bit far
No, but
now.
I'm just saying,
Right.
you may not want it, but okay, just tell him. I'll get my officer down here, but just make sure he understands that after the pretrial,
I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, do you have a second?
Yeah, George Boston.
Dennis Windscheffel, nice to meet you.
Nice to
I
meet
have
you.
a client on the pre-trial hearing.
Okay. What's your client's name?
James Powell. It's unlawful carrying of a weapon,
What kind of weapon we talking
a
about?
gun. He has a prior arrest, deferred adjudication for a switchblade. The facts of the case are,
Wow, man.
yeah, he's 19-year-old, young kid.
How long ago was it deferred?
It was a little over a year ago. He was on probation for a year, and he's
What kind of
been off.
weapon was it the last time?
It was a switchblade.
What kind of weapon is it this time?
It's a gun.
What kind of gun?
It's a pistol.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of pistol, man?
Oh, it's just a standard 9mm.
Oh, God, a standard 9mm.
Let's see.
Is it a Glock?
No, I'm sorry. It's 25 caliber.
Oh, a pea shooter. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Semi-automatic
Yeah.
with magazine.
This kid's graduated to bigger arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a more serious thing. On paper, it looks fairly bad. I mean, the cop was on patrol early in the morning, driving around, saw the kid in the parked car. The lights were off, the engine was running, dark alley, he says. It could have been a burglary. He stopped him, asked him for the weapon. I mean, asked him for information, found out about the thing. So, I mean, it sounds pretty bad on paper. Anyway, so, I mean, I went down there, I checked it out. In fact, I got some pictures of it. And if my camera can work here, well, anyways, when it does work, I can show you later.
Okay.
It's the scene is, I mean, for whatever reason, the officer is totally off on the scene.
He's totally off?
He's totally off. He says it's a dark alley. The fact is, the Mets could play there. I mean, it's got spotlights all around. It's got spotlights, it's got apartments, it's got lots of parked cars. It's a big student residential area. There are a lot of cars around.
Let me see photographs.
Oh, sure. Let me turn it on here. And we turned the weapon in.
Let's see what the cop is,
Sure.
where he's totally off here. 14th of December, your guy's Powell, 19 years old?
Correct,
The
right.
guy with the prior, right?
Right.
Yeah. 3:40 a.m., cop sees a minivan in an alley.
Here, you got to turn it up. And
Motor running, lights
I
on.
would have printed it out for you. You got to turn it up so you see kind of, no, not that way. No, turned off on me. That's what happens when you're a defense attorney. You can't afford expensive
Yeah, I
stuff.
heard you guys get in trouble using these props in front of juries.
Let's see if we can.
Okay, this guy says lights off, motor running, rear entrance to medical offices, high rate of burglaries and narcotics.
So if you turn it that way, you can see, and this doesn't even do justice to it. I mean, it's completely illuminated. I mean, you
This
got.
is at night,
Yeah, that's at night.
and hit the buttons to forward or something?
Yeah, see, there's one picture. This is actually where we was parked according to the description.
Okay.
And this is another picture, and it's really well illuminated.
What's right here?
This is a building of some sort, and there's apartment buildings right there, and there's I mean, it's
It sure is dark, man.
well, yeah. I mean, if I put that up big, it's going to get a lot brighter. I mean, I can take more pictures.
Well, maybe this is what the cop sees, is this dark alley, right?
Well, yeah, but if you look at it closely, you'll see that illuminated areas where he said he saw the car, which he said it was dark and so forth. So, and plus, I mean...
Is the kid's family, is this the kid and his family?
Oh, no, that's my family. That's my family. I'm sorry about that, officer. Anyways, student area, a lot of cars. I mean, there really is no reason, I mean, out of the ordinary to pick this car, especially since it wasn't running or something like that. The facts are pretty sketchy, and obviously this kid has been in trouble before. He's completed, I mean, if it's anything, he's completed a second level misdemeanor course. I do over there, but I'll bring it over. Plus, we've turned in the weapon.
He turned it in.
We've cooperated.
Yeah, you turned it in, all right. My cop confiscated it.
I mean, he's, it's a tough case. Yeah, he, obviously, switchblade, now a gun. Comes from a tough family. His father left him when he was 4. He's got a job now at Walmart. He's making minimum wage. He's trying to get his act together.
How long has he been working at Walmart?
Just for a couple months now.
Okay.
And I mean, we realize it's a tough case, but because of the suppression issue and stuff, we want to, do what's fair and reasonable.
Let me see what kind of stuff he burglarized here.
Well, there's no record that he burglarized anything.
What do you mean no record?
Well, there was nothing found. I mean, there was no ski mask, no nothing. It was just
anything. I mean, do you know whether anybody lost anything in the buildings?
As far as I know, not that I know. I mean, it was just he was there, in the alley, just sitting there, so forth. I mean.
So he hadn't burglarized it yet. Then.
Nope. No. Well, burglarized it like as if he was. There's no evidence there.
No evidence.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the cop would have put it down if there was. I mean, because obviously that's a lot more serious offense. So, I mean, we're looking. I mean, I want to be fair.
Well, let me ask you this: if this dude. Well, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying. I was just saying. We realize, this is a serious thing, and perhaps some jail time would teach him, a lesson. But obviously, because of the issues and stuff, we feel that, anything over 45 to 60 days. I mean, because of the suppression issue and stuff. I mean, anything more than that.
I mean, what's the issue on the suppression? This dude's sitting behind a medical office fixing to burglarize it. This cop knew it.
Perhaps, but I mean, the officer's testimony. I mean, it's just right there. I mean, it's.
Let me ask you this: if this dude was sitting behind your law office at 3:40 a.m., wouldn't you want the cops to check him out?
Absolutely, but we gotta do things by the book here, And the fact of the matter is,
he's paying you money, so the hell with that.
I gotta fix my camera here.
Okay.
So I mean, we were thinking realistically, we understand that obviously something could have been going on. So obviously we feel that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this doesn't look like probation worked on this kid earlier.
Right. Well, we're not asking for probation. I mean, he hangs up in a tough crowd and stuff, and I think the jail time perhaps would kind of sever that crowd a little bit. And as I say, he's been working at Walmart, making minimum wage.
Well, we can sever him from his crowd for a while.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we both agreed the point is to, do justice, but help the kid out, too.
I don't know. I think 45, 60 is a little bit on the low side, man. Let me ask you something. What's your dude doing there at 3:40 a.m.?
Well, I mean, it's a student area. I mean, the parking is scarce. It's a student area. I mean, that place never stops. Plus, he's 19. I mean, if you got no father, where else are you going to hang out but in a student area?
Behind the medical office burglarize.
Well, no, but right there, but that entire row is all students. I mean,
I'll tell you what I can do, man. I can go to 90 Travis County Jail if he waives pre-trial.
90 days?
Yeah, 90 Travis County Jail.
With back time served?
Yeah, I'll give him credit for back time, but he's got to forfeit the weapon.
Oh, yeah, he's already turned that over.
Okay.
So 90 days, huh?
Yeah, 90 days plus court costs.
90 days. Well, I mean, don't you think that might be a little high, though, for him? Considering the suppression?
I don't. No.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, you might, but I don't.
Okay. Well, let me talk to my client and see what he wants to do, and
all right. Well, get back with me in a hurry, man, sure. Because it's 1:45, and the judge is going to be hot on me to get my witnesses here.
George?
Yeah.
Dennis again. I just talked to my client, and he was understanding. He didn't want to, be dishonest with you. He realizes he's going to do jail time and stuff like that. But we really think that 90 is a bit high here, and both of us want to minimize the risk here. We realize, I mean, the suppression, he's doing no time. At worst, that if the suppression goes through, the most he's going to do is 120 days. So, I mean, you do the 50-50, you're looking about 60 days, I think is a pretty fair compromise.
I don't know, man. I tell you 60, I can't do. I can't do 60. I tell you what, if he'll plead today, I'll do 75 if he pleads today. I don't care when you sentence him. He can.
Right.
So I'll do 75 CCJ if he pleads today.
You said you don't feel comfortable doing 60. What specifically about it would
I
keep
think
you
this kid needs a lesson, man. I mean, he was on probation. We gave him a shot at deferred. 5 months later, this dude picks up another case, and it's not just the same case, it's a worse case.
Right.
This guy's packing heat with a pistol. You know, it looks like he's out there scoping the place out for burglary, and, you know, he's lucky that, you know, burglary of a building is a state jail felony.
Absolutely, but...
And I think there's enough to charge him with attempted.
Well, maybe. But as you know, there's a big risk, and the suppression is pretty strong.
Man, here's what I'll do. 75 if he pleads today. I got to get up there to the
Okay,
bench, man.
we'll do 65, and
No, 75 if he pleads today.
all right. Well, 65. Are you sure?
Man, I got to get up.
Okay.
The judge is calling me. 75 if he pleads today.
We'll see you today.
You going to want me to call my officers?
Yes, please.
Okay, no problem.
Now cause number 5488881, State of Texas versus James Richard Powell. This case is now called for pretrial hearing. Is the state ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
I see we've got a motion to suppress. Call your witnesses.
Your Honor, on the motion to suppress, the defense calls Officer William Reese.
Morning, Officer Reese. You've already been sworn.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is William Reese.
Officer Reese, what is your current employment?
I'm a police officer with the Austin Police Department.
You were employed in this capacity on December 14th, 2002.
Yes, ma'am.
You were on patrol in your police vehicle?
That's correct.
That is a marked unit.
Yes, ma'am.
You were driving in the 1900 block of Pearl Street,
That's correct.
heading northbound
Yes, ma'am.
at approximately 3:40 a.m.
That's correct.
As you were driving, you noticed a car in the alley to the right.
I noticed the minivan. Yes, ma'am.
It was a minivan,
Yes.
a maroon minivan.
That's correct.
The motor was running,
Yes, ma'am.
the lights were off.
Correct.
The van was parked in the alley,
Yeah, it was.
in the back lot of some medical offices.
Yes.
These offices were closed at this time.
That's correct.
You parked behind the van.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
You approached the van on foot.
Yes, ma'am.
You walked to the driver's side.
Yes,
There was a white male sitting in the driver's seat.
there was.
You tapped on the window.
Yes, ma'am.
He rolled down the window halfway.
That's correct.
He asked you what the problem was.
Yes, he did.
You asked him for identification.
Yes, ma'am.
He produced a valid driver's license,
Yes, he did.
identifying him as James Richard Powell.
That's correct.
Then you asked him for proof of insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
He reached over to his glove compartment,
Yes, he did.
and when he opened the glove compartment, a light came on in the compartment.
That's correct, ma'am.
When the light came on, you saw a pistol in the compartment.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
You asked Mr. Powell if he had a license to carry a concealed handgun.
I did.
He said that he did not have one.
That's correct.
Then you asked him to exit the vehicle.
Yes, ma'am.
You told him he was under arrest for unlawfully carrying a weapon.
That's
a
correct.
concealed weapon.
Yes.
These events occurred in the alley connecting Pearl Street and Rio Grande Street.
Yes, ma'am.
This area, the 1900 block of Pearl Street, it's also known as West Campus,
Yes, ma'am, it is.
and it's called West Campus because it lies to the west of the University of Texas.
That's correct.
Is it fair to say that many UT students live in the West Campus area?
I suppose it would be fair to say that.
And some of these UT students may keep late hours.
Some may, yes, ma'am.
Some of them may study late at night.
Yes, ma'am.
Some may go out partying.
Yes, ma'am.
Some students even go out to eat after a night of studying or partying.
Yeah, some do, yes, ma'am.
They may eat at 24-hour restaurants.
They might.
Restaurants like Taco Cabana?
I'm not sure if it stays open 24 hours a day or not.
I believe it is. It does. But is there a Taco Cabana on Martin Luther King Drive?
Yes, ma'am, there is.
Is it near the 1900 block of Pearl Street and Rio Grande Street?
But yeah, it is. It is.
After eating at a place like Taco Cabana, some students may arrive home after 2 a.m.,
Some might,
after 3 a.m.
possibly.
Some UT students do not have their own cars.
Some do not, that's correct.
Some may rely on friends for transportation.
That's correct, ma'am.
Do some drivers dim their headlights upon approaching a residence?
I suppose it depends on which direction you approach the residence from.
Do they do so maybe to minimize the glare of headlights through windows?
I'm not sure.
Some drivers wait for their friends to enter their apartments before driving off.
Sure, that's fair.
There are many apartment complexes in the West Campus area.
I don't know about many. There's some.
Are there any on Pearl Street or Rio Grande Street?
I'm really not sure. I mean, I think that there are some, yes.
There is an apartment complex or student cooperative housing on 20th Street.
Yes, ma'am, there is.
Does it back into the alley connecting Pearl Street and Rio Grande?
I know something backs out of that alley, but I'm not real certain whether it's that apartment complex or not. I'm not sure how deep it is.
Okay. There's parking for apartments in that alley.
Yes, ma'am, there is.
Some of these apartments have doors that face the alley,
Yes, ma'am.
so students can enter their apartments from the alley.
That's correct.
That is the same alley where the van was parked.
Yes, ma'am.
This housing complex is directly behind the medical offices.
There are some housings, yes, ma'am.
These offices and the housing complex share the same alley.
Yes, ma'am.
Students do live in that complex.
I believe so, ma'am.
Is it fair to say that some students stay in town during the winter break?
Yeah, it's fair to say that.
Pass the witness.
Officer Reese, what were you doing on the morning of December the 14th of
I was
last year?
patrolling the West Campus area.
Okay. And approximately 3:40, what did you observe?
I saw a maroon minivan parked about a third of the way down the alley that joins Pearl Street to Rio Grande Street.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
We have a little map here. We're going to draw it out, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay. You say you approached Pearl Street. Which direction were you coming at that time? I'll let you draw it out.
Yes, sir. I was traveling, I initially was traveling westbound MLK, and I turned northbound on Pearl Street.
Okay. And when did you first see the defendant's car or minivan?
It was, as I was approaching the alley, I can't remember exactly where I first saw him, but it was prior to actually entering the alley,
Okay.
right at the corner.
And how was the minivan parked?
Minivan was parked eastbound, right next to the medical offices, facing eastbound, facing towards Rio Grande.
Okay. And what did you observe about the vehicle?
I observed that the motor was running and the lights were off.
Okay. The defense had said that there were some apartments. Would you like to draw where the apartments were on the map?
Sure,
As well as you can remember.
Sure. I can't remember exactly how the apartments are, but I know that there's one building that juts out into the alley further than most other buildings. That's the first building. And then there's a series of apartment complexes further down. They're kind of removed from the alley, or further back from the alley like that. And then there's a parking lot at the very end, I believe.
Now, if this person had dimmed their lights or had their lights dimmed to basically not shine the apartments, which way would their headlights on the map, if you would point, which way their headlights would show?
Well, the headlights would be facing eastbound or into Rio Grande Street.
Okay. Thank you. Your Honor, I'd like to enter this as Exhibit A.
Okay. Does defense have any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
What specifically about the vehicle caught your attention again, please?
Well, it was the motor running, the lights were off, and it was hugging the rear entrance to the medical offices,
Okay.
very close to the medical offices.
And who was in the car?
White male subject by the name of James Richard Powell.
Was there anyone else in the car?
No, sir.
Okay. What happened after you observed these things?
Well, I pulled up behind the car just to check it out.
Okay. And what did you find out?
I found out there was a white male subject sitting inside, and he was unlawfully carrying a weapon.
Okay. How did you come to that conclusion?
I saw the weapon.
Okay, so you, excuse me, what happened after you tapped on the windows? You tapped on the, what happened after you tapped on the driver's window?
He rolled it down.
And what did you ask him to do?
I asked him to produce a valid driver's license. He did.
Okay. What happened after he opened the glove compartment?
I saw the pistol.
Okay, and what type of pistol was it?
.25 caliber semi-automatic FIE Titan, fully loaded and chambered.
What happened after you saw the pistol?
I asked him if he had a license to carry a concealed weapon.
And what did he say?
He said he did not, sir.
Okay. What happened after he said that he had no license to carry?
I got him out of the vehicle, I frisked him for other weapons, and then I handcuffed him, put him in the back of my vehicle, and I went back and inventoried his car, his minivan.
And you say, and what time of night this was approximately?
Yes, sir, it was 3:40 in the morning.
Okay. How would you describe this area as far as crime rates go?
It's got some incidences of crimes.
As far as drugs go, is it very common for drugs?
Yes, sir, it's very common. There's a couple of dumpsters back there, and some of the homeless people hang out there, and we've seen syringes and marijuana cigarettes littering the street back there.
What about burglaries?
Yes, sir, there's been incidents of burglaries in that area as well. West Campus is notorious when the students leave for the Christmas holidays. There seems to be a higher incidence of burglaries in that area.
Okay. And you say the car was a minivan?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. What kind of cars do students usually drive?
Oh, it depends. I mean, all kinds of cars, actually, but kind of unusual to see a student in a minivan. It's more of a soccer mom type of a car, you know.
Okay. And as far as the area, how would you describe the area? You talked about the medical buildings. How would you describe the adjacent area to the right?
Well, there are medical buildings on the right.
Okay. Would students use these areas at this time of night?
Not the medical offices.
Okay. Thank you. Pass the witness.
Officer Reese, the defendant did not resist arrest.
The defendant did not, ma'am.
There are no ski masks in the van,
The suspect did not have any ski masks, ma'am.
no flashlights in the van,
That's correct, ma'am.
no tools in the van,
I believe he had a tire tool in the back.
a tire tool.
Yes, ma'am.
No more questions. Your Honor, the defense rests.
Okay.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, you're excused, officer.
Thank you.
Does the defense have any more witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, defense rests, state have anything?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
State rests, I'm ready to hear argument.
Your Honor, you have heard testimony from Officer Reese regarding the events occurring at approximately 3:40 a.m. on December 14, 2002. Officer Reese performed an investigatory stop because the defendant's vehicle was parked in an alley with the motor running and headlights off. A car with its headlights off and its motor running in someone's driveway would not have provoked an investigatory stop, nor would the same car in the parking lot of an apartment complex. Because the car at issue was in the back parking lot of an office building in an alley, Officer Reese felt compelled to perform an investigatory stop because these offices were closed. However, apartment buildings do not close. Students living in West Campus, and more specifically, students living in the apartment complex that backs into that alley, can leave and enter at any time of the day or night. Because these apartments are accessible from the alley, residents may prefer to be dropped off closer to their apartment door at such a late hour. A person dropping someone off at the apartment complex may use the alley. A more caring person may wait for the person to enter their apartment and they may even turn their headlights off as to not bother residents that may be sleeping. Officer Reese made no mention of the apartment building in his incident report. He correctly stated that the medical offices were closed at that hour. However, other businesses located within a quarter mile of the alley, such as Taco Cabana, are open 24 hours, and residential units are accessible as well from the alley. For these reasons, Officer Reese's observations before the investigatory stop do not constitute sufficient reasonable suspicion. Waiting in a car with the motor running and the headlights off does not, in and of itself, constitute criminal activity. Officer Reese does not have specific articulable facts which lead him to conclude that the defendant had been or was going to be engaging in criminal activity. Your Honor, we ask that you grant our motion to suppress evidence.
Okay. Let me hear what the state has to say.
Yes, Your Honor. As you know, Your Honor, the standard is reasonable suspicion, supported by specific and articulable facts, of which Officer Reese had several. First, it was a minivan. This is a student area, and as Officer Reese said, it's a very uncommon car in the area to have, specifically with the fact that there's a high rate of burglary, and a minivan would be very convenient as far as storage goes to get things and so forth. Second was the time of night and the time of year. This was over winter break, and it was 3:40 in the morning, and it was adjacent to closed buildings, medical buildings, that students would have no reason to be near. The defense argues that the defendant may have been dimming their headlights because of the apartment buildings, but as you see from the map clearly, the apartments are on the left and not in front, so if the defendant were to have their headlights on, it would not be interfering with the apartments. Third, Officer Reese observed that there was a man sitting in the driver's seat with no other one in the car. Fourth, the engine was on and the lights were off. And sixth, the officer commented on the high rate of burglaries and the narcotics usage and the alley as a way, as a place where things like this have in the past happened. So for the foregoing reasons, we argue that the motion to suppress be denied, seeing how Officer Reese did have reasonable suspicion to pull over the defendant, James Powell.
Okay.
Thanks.
Does the defense have anything to add?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to take this under advisement. Let's go ahead and set it for the pretrial docket on Friday, and if you come back then, I'll give you my decision. Thank you.